All right, it's 4:30 in the morning, heading towards Tucson, actually heading towards Tombstone to check out a pioneer cemetery down there. I finally made it 189 miles from the house. I am in the town of Pearce, Arizona. We're gonna check out a very historic pioneer cemetery. I'm really looking forward to this. I am the only one out here at 6:45 in the morning. Whew. I'm gonna stretch. It's 59 degrees, folks, finally. 59 degrees. Up in the valley yesterday, it was 102. It's 59 degrees this morning. Again, we're in the town of Pearce, Arizona. If you wanted to look at it on a map, it's by Dragoon, Arizona. I would say about 20 miles from Dragoon. Stay tuned for this episode of the Arizona Timeless Tourist. Woo, it's airy quiet out here. I'll keep my voice up, though, to keep the rattlesnakes away. Let's talk a little bit about the history of Pearce, Arizona. I mean, what is it all about? It's named after a gentleman named James Pearce. Not too far from here, he found gold, which became the Commonwealth Mine in 1894. Then in 1896, they opened the post office. And then in 1903, the railroad came through this area. Now let's back it up just a little bit more. James Pearce was married and he had 2 sons and a daughter, and they lived in Tombstone, Arizona. Now, what did they do? Well, James was a miner and his wife ran a boarding house. Well, after they saved up enough money, they moved to the Sulphur Springs Valley. Well, the story goes, James was tired one day and he took a rest, and he sat down and he picked up a rock, and he took that rock and he threw it, and the rock busted open, and inside the rock were specks that looked to be gold. So James gathered up all these rocks and he headed back to Tombstone, Arizona to have those rocks looked at. What was actually inside that rock was gold. So what did James do? He ran right back here and he laid a claim to that area, which is now known as the Commonwealth Mine. They mined over 1 million tons of ore from the Commonwealth Mine from 1895 to 1942. All right, so that's a little history of the town of Pearce, Arizona. Now we're gonna head back here and try to find a grave site of an individual that I cannot believe ended up right here in Pearce. It just absolutely amazes me. It's one of these graves that's surrounded by a fence, so I do know it'll be a little bit easier to find, but this is a pretty good sized graveyard. But right here is the gravesite that I traveled all this way to come see in Pearce, Arizona. In 1863, the Union Light Guard was formed out of the state of Ohio. What they did is they picked 100 of the best men that they could possibly find in the state of Ohio, and they were selected for a special assignment. Now, when these guys signed up, they didn't really know what they were signing up for. Most of them knew that they were going to be heading off to battle like their father and their friends and their brothers. They thought they were heading to the front line, but they weren't heading to the front line. A couple of days later, they end up in Washington, D.C., and they're told all about what their assignment is going to be. They arrive in Washington, D.C., and then they're told what their orders are going to be. They're going to be part of a very unique group. They are going to be bodyguards for the President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. Okay, I'm now reading in front of his headstone this plaque that was placed here. It says, Sergeant George H. Platt, October of 1832 to August of 1906, member of Union Light Guard, 7th Independent Company, Ohio Volunteer Cavalry, which was established to serve as bodyguards and mounted escorts for the President Abraham Lincoln. All right, finishing up here in Pearce. What an interesting spot here. Really interesting. Gonna have maybe a cookie, chocolate chip. You know, when I'm out there when I'm out on these adventures, I don't eat much. I'm gonna get in and out. But I'm back on the Interstate 10 and head towards Tombstone. Gas up first. Head towards Tombstone and yeah, try to hit the Pioneer Cemetery there before the crowds get there. Let me see what time it is. See, it's only getting to be 9 o'clock, and from what all I read, Tombstone doesn't open till 10. So,